When it comes to being a friend, dogs do it the best. And it's not just because how amazingly affectionate and caring they are. There's actual scientific proof that dogs can easily judge a person and their intentions. However, their abilities don't just end there. In fact, they've been known to detect illnesses, earthquakes, and so much more before humans could even guess what was going on. All of that will be explained later in this video, so keep watching. For now, here's how dogs can recognize if a person is bad or good. Dogs have a whole range of senses they rely upon, but their primary sense is smell. And that's why even a fancy Afghan hound with long locks knows exactly what's going on around it. This heightened sense can help them pick up a number of cues from human beings. Humans all secrete pheromones, which help dogs sniff out the emotion we're feeling. That's why they can sense fear, anxiety, happiness, and many other emotions. But that's not all. Pups are excellent at reading body language. Whether it's a stranger or the owner itself, if you're around someone that makes you anxious, the dog becomes wary of that person. A study was published by Neuroscience and Biobehavioral Review, which claimed that dogs could tell who is a good person and who's a meanie at heart. More importantly, they can tell when one human is being mean to another. To come to the conclusion, researchers put a number of dog owners in a plethora of different scenarios while their dogs watched by. The scenario consisted of the owners pretending to struggle while opening a jar. After a while, they would ask two researchers for help as part of the experiment. In one instance, one researcher stood idly by, the other helped. The second scenario consisted of one researcher who refused to help and another simply standing by. After this experiment was done, the mean researcher and the passive researcher both offered the dog a treat. The reality finally proved that dogs are all indeed very good boys and girls. All the volunteer dogs refused to eat a treat provided by the researcher that refused to help. Long story short, dogs are pretty aware of their owners and the people around them. If your dog hints at someone being creepy or dangerous, you better believe them. A three-part experiment done by Akiko Takakoka of Kyoto University revealed a lot about the behavioral patterns of dogs. First, dog owners were instructed to point at a container of food. Then they would be presented with empty containers, and this alternating pattern between empty and full containers created doubts within the dogs. They'd get super disappointed when the said food container was smooth. The inconsistency of their owner's gestures made them visibly anxious and stressed. So much so that in the third round, all the 34 dogs in the experiment ignored the hand that would point at the empty food bowl. This shows that dogs refuse to believe anyone who lies to them, even if it is their own owner. Many studies show dogs end up ignoring and even avoiding people who are rude to their owners or aren't honest with them. It's not just their judgment that's good. Their memory is a complex and complicated piece of biology, but it works in a way that dogs can remember your scent forever. An owner's scent activates the pleasure centers in the dog's brain. The caudate nucleus is the part that's mainly triggered by a familiar scent, which means it stays stored there for a long time. Their memory is reinforced by the fact that dogs have 300 million olfactory receptors in their nose, whereas we have only 6 million. With such a huge range of abilities, dogs can remember their owners forever since they make sure of facial and voice recognition along with remembering our events. A sensitive nose brings about a lot of responsibility. In fact, dogs can smell even a tiny change in our hormones, so they're excellent at smelling out any markers of disease. A study was done in 2006 that trained about 5 dogs to detect cancers based on simple breath samples. After their training, the dogs were able to see breast cancer with about an 88% accuracy. They could even pinpoint lung cancer with 99% accuracy throughout all 4 stages. Another study done in 2013 found out that 2 trained dogs could detect 11 out of 12 narcolepsy patients using just clues from their sweat. That goes to show that dogs pick up on biochemical changes in our bodies that can lead to an attack. Pets provide us comfort even at times when we don't know how to express our emotions. Experts have found out that dogs know when humans are dying, grieving, or simply having a hard time, all through our body language cues and smells. Many previous studies have shown that dogs use their sense of hearing and sight to determine human emotions through their vocalizations. For example, researchers actually found out that dogs know when we're happy just through our laughs. In short, dogs can identify the primary 6 emotions by their voice and face. The University of Lincoln in the UK performed a whole series of experiments just to find out how far a canine's ability to recognize our facial expressions can go. In the experiments, the dogs were shown about 12 images. There were pictures of dogs looking negative or angry and humans showing negative and positive emotions among the pictures. Then they measured the dog's response to the images shown. The conclusion that they ended up with was that they were focused on the expressions of other dogs but still had reactions to humans as well. That's not even the end of it. If you've ever wondered about how much your dog cares about you, the following experiment will give you your answer. Another experiment was held where a dog was placed alone in a room. The owner and a stranger would both walk into the room through different doors. One thing that was common among all the dogs was that they would stare at their owners' faces for much longer. Then they would stand near the door where their owner entered for the second round. All of this just because they were curious about their owners and their facial expressions. They can guess our mood, our faces, and whatnot. As a result, dogs play a huge part in our society, especially when it comes to disaster relief. You might have heard of multiple news stories where dogs help bring comfort to humans who are in difficult situations. Moreover, you might have also heard stories where dogs predict earthquakes and tsunamis, but is there any truth to it? Well, dogs have a more comprehensive hearing range and a much better nose than us, which is why they can hear the seismic activities that occur before an earthquake. Usually it consists of scraping, grinding, and even breaking rocks underground. However, Japanese scientists found out that in 2011 that dogs could detect changes in the atmospheric pressure, changes in gravity, ground deformation, vibrations due to micro cracks, and even changes in groundwater levels. Dogs with impaired hearing and smell were less alert and anxious before events like this, proving that their abilities go far farther than we know. In any case, if your dog starts to act weird, strange, or even jittery, instead of dismissing it, try to find out what could be wrong. Sometimes they might be the ones who need help, not you. These sensitive creatures even know when and how to treat someone gently. For example, when a baby is introduced into the household, dogs will instinctively know to be gentle with them, since they see them as the youngest of the pack. The hierarchy of the family helps them create a special bond with the young ones. The best part is that interacting with babies increases their dopamine levels and makes them much happier. Alright, comment below which of these things your dog has done and other special abilities you can think of that they might have. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to InfoLab, and hit the bell icon for more. And we'll see you in the next one.